Hello guys. Yes. In the previous session we had learned about the orthographic projection of solids. So we understood how the projections were or the orthographic projections were made to project onto the plane VP and HP. Here in the solid it is very simple to understand. You need not much worry about as in case of planes, but you need to project then and there itself. If you project, name it then and there itself, the solids becomes easy for you. So you had seen how a prism, the front and top view of the prism are obtained, especially a square prism, and later on we saw how pentagonal prism is projected onto the vertical plane and horizontal plane. So here we have on the top, you can see you have a simple problem here, which is a square prism having 35 mm sides of base. Okay, so we'll solve first problem on square prism and later we'll see how to solve pentagonal prism and hexagonal prism. So here it says a square prism 35 mm sides of base and 60 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its edges of the plane, which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Draw the projections of the prism when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. So here you need to understand what is the dimension of the prism given. So it says 35 mm sides of base and 60 mm axis length. Okay, so now this axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees, and the edge that is resting on HP is inclined at an angle of 30 degrees to VP, right? So here, see what has happened here. You need to understand when to find out beta angle, when beta angle is already given there over there. So here what happens here is when the axis is inclined to both the planes, both HP and VP, then it is a beta angle problem, because apparent body is not does not fit on the true inclinations. Okay, so apparent body should always fit on apparent inclination. Sometimes they would give you true inclination, you need to find out the apparent inclination. That is what it means. So later classes we'll see how to solve for beta angle. So in this particular case there is no beta angle problem, because it says edge is inclined to VP. So edge is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So we'll start with the problem. So first what I'll do is always start the square prism with the top view. Okay, so first what I'll do is, so I'm going to draw an XY line. So I'm going to write VP HP. Okay, so I've written VP HP. So let us start with the top view. So I hope you have understood how to draw the top view for a square prism. You've already seen. So I'll start with the top view instead of going for the front view. No doubt you can also start from front view. Okay, so how to start with? So I'm going to draw a 35 mm sides of base. So in the problem they have given me 35 mm sides of base. So anywhere selecting any arbitrary point here or any point here. So what I do is I'm going to select 35. So I'll start from here. So I can just count the blocks here. So 35, 10, 20, 30, 35. Correct. So I've drawn a line. Similarly on the other side it is 35 mm. Sorry, I've drawn 40 mm here, so it should be 35. Okay, so I'm going to erase this. Right, so let me dimension this first and name it and then move on to the next step. So here I'll be naming either in anti-clockwise direction or clockwise direction. It is left to you. So I'll start from this here. So if I see a square prism, right? So as in case of this eraser, if I place here the top view, I can name this. See, understand you have again 4 corners on the top and 4 corners at the base. So I name this as the top surface as A1, B1, C1, D1. The bottom surface, same line of action, A, B, C and D. So this is how I name this. When I name A dash, A1, B1, C1 and D1, so from the top I can see A1, B1, C1, D1, but A, B, C, D are invisible. So A1 is visible in bracket A, which is invisible. So similarly B1, B, C1, C, D1, D. So this is how you name this. Okay, now let me dimension this. So make sure that none of the alphabets are overlapping with the projection lines, right? So, or any other line. Avoid overlapping of alphabets here. Very simple. So I'm going to write it as 35. Okay, so now I'm obtain the top view here. Now I need to draw the front view. Before doing that, let me find out the center of this prism, which is using a projection line. So I'll be using a projection line, a very thin line, and drawing the diagonals. So I can find out the centroid or center of this square prism, okay, using the top view. Now again I have A1, B1, C1, D1. The center line, that is the axis line, I can find out the axis here, center here. So what I'll do is I'll name this end and this end as O1, O, right? Top surface A1, B1, C1, D1 and O1 here. So again I can see here O1, I can see O1, which is imaginary again, but still if I draw the axis line here, I can see O1 but not O. So what I do is I'll name this as O1 in bracket. I can name this as O. On one side you can write it. Okay, so now I'm done with the top view. Now let us move on to the front view, right? So first project, see I'm projecting A to XY line. So it is already been, I've already drawn a line, so I'll start with here. So this is the concept of projection. So again from B it is already projected, so C I'll project. Okay, so B to XY line. So when I say C to XY line, it is already done. Okay, please bear with the diagram here, right? So now also from this center project to XY line, a very thin line. These should be a projection line. Okay, right? So this is how you project it to XY line. Now you have to elevate the diagram, right? It's the front view. So what I do is I need to draw the front view here. It says the axis length is 60 mm. So when the axis length is 60 mm, what you need to do is first draw the axis line which is of 60 mm height. So I use a center line here. So I'm using a center line. See, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 till here I need to draw. So let me be clear. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So I'm going to draw till here. So center line which is one longer, one smaller line. Okay, this is how I draw the axis line here. So now let me complete the front view, which looks like a square. See, if I see here, if I place a square prism, so here I can see a rectangle shape here, right? So this is what I'm doing. So if the axis is 60, the other two sides will also be 60 mm. So that is what I'm doing here. So what I do is, so from this end draw a line which is visible, which should be visible here. On the other side again it is 60, right? So I'm going to complete this. Even here it should be a visible line, so I'm going to just darken this line here, even on the top I want to darken. So this is how we get. Now let us name it. How to name this? So you already know how to name this here. So what exactly happens here is, so I know this is A1, B1, C1 and D1, A, B, C and D. So here I can see A1, B1, I can see A, B. I cannot see O, O1 and O here, right? Because it is here, so I cannot see this particular portion here, this one. So A1, B1, A, B, right? So behind B we have C, behind A we have D. Very simple. So that is how we need to look into this. Or the other way is, look in this direction, which is the nearest points, A1, B1 or AB. So these two should be visible here in the front view. These two should be hidden. right? So it is very much clear. So let me name this. So bottom surface is A, so front view should be named by A dash. So this is A dash, this becomes A dash. Now this becomes B dash on the other end, right? C dash again here in bracket I'm going to write C dash, here in bracket I'm going to write D dash. So this is how I'm going to name. So O dash is hidden, as I said, it is behind the lamina or the surface. So again the same thing I'm going to replicate here with A1, B1, C1 and D1. So let me write this as A1 dash D1 dash O1 dash in bracket B1 dash C1 dash. So let me dimension this first. So dimension, always follow a simple method of dimensioning here, right? So you can draw this 35 mm here and make sure that it lies on a same line of action, right? It is all about improvement, it is all about drawing neatly, right? So the axis height is 60, correct? So this is how you're going to draw the front and top view. So this becomes the first condition, right? So this is not the final solution what we need to obtain. So you need to incline this lamina to HP at 30 degrees. So what I do is, see, you have a lamina here, or solid here. So what I need to do is I need to rotate this. So this is the axis line. I need to rotate this with respect to HP. At an angle of whatever the angle that they have given. In this particular case, they have given me 45 degrees to HP. So understand here, when you draw the first condition, make sure that the given data, the data that is given in the question should be represented in the diagram. Now, as I said, it is inclined to HP. I need to just incline this axis, that's all. So what I do is I'll incline this axis to HP at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, always make sure that second condition, see, first condition it is resting on HP, second condition HP should be inclined. This is how we have followed in planes also. When it is first condition is given with respect to VP, you need to draw the lamina here, and later you need to draw the inclination with respect to VP only, later HP. But in solids you always draw first condition with respect to HP, second condition with respect to angle with respect to HP, and the third condition is angle with respect to VP. Let us not worry about what is inclined to HP and what is inclined to VP, but second condition is always with respect to HP, third condition is always with respect to VP. Okay, this is what we are going to learn. You have various other methods to draw. We'll follow one convenient method. So what I'm teaching here will be a simple convenient method what I have followed. Simple, right? So now if I need to incline this axis line, if I rotate this, what happens? Some portion of the object lies below XY line, right? So the front view cannot lie below XY line. Okay, only top view comes below XY line. So in order to avoid this overlapping or which comes below XY line, in order to avoid that, what we need to do is I'm going to incline this line. Okay, because this line is parallel to this line, so I'm going to incline this line, and later I'm going to obtain all the other points. So let me find out the angle here with respect to HP. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out a convenient point here for me to project this prism here. So what I'll do is I'm going to take some arbitrary point here, in any point, I mean to say, right? So what is the angle given with respect to HP? That is 45 degree. So I'll find out 45 degrees and draw 45 degree, correct? Now use the scale. So I need to draw 60 mm. As I know, I need to draw 60 mm height here. So what I do is I'll take this as 6 here, I'll move and I'll draw 60 mm of a line here, inclined at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, clear? And there are two methods for you to obtain the other points here. Perpendicular line, draw the line which is perpendicular to this direction and join this, and you can obtain this, and later you can name it. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a perpendicular line. See, again, as I told, I'll be using my convenient method. So what you can do is you can place a protractor here at an angle of 90 degrees, draw a simple projection line and then cut an arc. So here what I'm going to do is I've used a scale here, so this line is overlapping onto this line, so this surface, this line becomes perpendicular to the line that I've already drawn. So from here what I do is I simply draw a line which is projection, right? So I've made this line perpendicular. Make sure that you draw this line perpendicular to this line, which is at an angle of 90 degrees. Okay, you can make use of protractor and you can do it. Right, now what is the next step? What I do is, I do not know, see this is 35, correct? So this has to be 35 and this has to be 35. So either I can use pencil compass, measure this, cut this, or a simple, I'll use a simple common sense here. So which is of 35. What I do is, so I'll draw a line which is a dark line or a visible line of 35 mm. So I've drawn 35 mm line, right? So now perpendicular to this line. Hope you're understanding this. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So I'm drawing a visible line, which should be a dark line, right? So now this is exactly 35 on this side also, right? So what you can do is either you can find out the midpoint of this and find out, or I use pencil compass for this to find out the O and O dash here. So I'll measure this, I'll cut an arc. Okay, so now again use the perpendicular line to obtain this axis. So exactly 90 degree, draw the center line. See, basically what I'm doing is I'm just replicating the same diagram here with an inclination, right? So now I've drawn this. So next step is to project this line. Okay, I'll project this line and represent the angle. You should always represent the angle. So I'm representing the angle has to be 45 degrees here. Okay, now you can copy down the same naming here. So I name this as A dash, D dash, because naming remains same here, O dash. So I'm going to write B dash, C dash. So here it is A1 dash, D1 dash, O1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash. Okay, so I'll make sure that sufficient place is available for the third condition. Okay, so leave some sufficient space here and then draw it. Okay, so now how to obtain the top view, which is very simple. See, again I'm using my convenient method to find this. Most of us follow the same thing. I'll look into this direction. From this direction, the farthest point in this direction I need to identify. So B dash and C dash are the farthest point. Okay, these 2 points are the farthest point when the observer is here. So any line joining these 2 points is hidden line, which is not visible. Mean to say, I have this, I'm going to rotate this way. Okay, this way. Now the top view looks this way for your prism. So I place this way, this becomes the top view for you. When I rotate this, I can see this surface, I can see this surface, right? I cannot see any other surface apart from this, right? So basically you can see this line, right? And along with this you have something called as A dash, D dash. You can see that. So this is A1D. You can see this line, you can see this line, this line over here, this line over here. Also these 2 lines. So with a 2D sketch, it is very easy to obtain all the hidden lines here. So in this direction, when I look into this direction, B dash, C dash are the farthest point. So these 2 points, any line joining these 2 points are hidden, right? So now I'll project this bottom surface, later top surface, then I'll draw the hidden and visible lines here. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to project A to A with a projection line. See, A to A. So let me name this A dash. Simply name it. Later we'll see which are visible, which are hidden. So I'm going with the chronological order. You to go with the chronological order. Project then and there itself. Do not simply project the lines later leading to confusions. So it is B dash, B dash. Next C dash. C dash is already projected in this direction. I'll project in this way. So I'm going to project C here. So I'm going to write C dash D. By default it is projected, so I'm going to write D dash. Let us not worry about which is hidden, which is visible. Also project this axis line here, which is very much important. Okay, see, as I told, please bear with the diagram. I hope you are understanding the concept, right? So make sure that these kind of overlapping are avoided. Okay, O dash. I'm not worried about which is visible, which is hidden. I'm just naming it. Similarly, I'll project the top surface here. So again it is A to A1. So this becomes A1. Next B1. I hope you're understanding. I'll just finish off this B1. Oh, I'm sorry. What I've done was I have done a mistake. The top here I have named it as correct. So it should be A. By oversight I've named it as A dash. Okay. So this becomes O. So this is A1 B1. C1 D1. Okay, right. Also project the center line as I told. This becomes O1. Okay, right. I've named all the points here. The only thing is I have to connect this. And obtain the top view here. So when I see, the farthest points are B and C dash, B dash and C dash. So write this in bracket because which is invisible here. So these 2 points should be hidden. So any line joining these points are hidden. You need to understand, in a prism you will have any corner is having 3 edges. So if I consider this corner 1, 2 and 3, you need to, for any corner you have to identify this. So for C or for B, let me start with B. For B it is A to B, B to C and B to B1. These are the 3 lines here. So what I need to do is I need to join these lines by hidden line. Any line joining these lines are hidden. Okay, these lines are hidden. Similarly, I'm going to draw this. Right, hidden. Similarly, if I consider B here, B to B1 is hidden, correct? So from here, so B to B1 is hidden. So let me draw this and later you will understand. Right, now what about what about A to A1? We'll not worry about it here. So first we'll find out for point C also. For C, this is the one line, the other line will be C to D here. So C to D I'm going to draw by a hidden line, right? On C to C1 is again a hidden line. Correct? So this is how you are going to obtain. Now to complete the diagram, rest all the lines should be visible. All the lines should be visible. Understand? So for A, you have got three corners, three edges. So A to D, A to B, A to A1, A to A1. So B to A is hidden. So this B to A is hidden. See, understand what I've drawn here is A to, instead I mean to say B to B1. But when I draw A to A1, A to A1 is visible, correct? So when I draw this A to A1 visible, what happens here is this whole line becomes visible. It is overlapping. So similarly here D to D1 is visible. So this becomes visible, correct? Now this A1 to B1, let me see from the top. This top surface is completely visible for me. So I'll make this top surface completely visible. So what I do is I draw this top surface completely visible. So let me finish one by one. So instead you can start from the top surface itself. So since the top surface is visible, so I'm going to draw top surface visible. See, there is a hidden line which is overlapped by a visible line, that's all. That is what I have done, correct? So now the remaining line is A to D. As I can see, this is visible. So I made this visible. So basically what has happened here is only this line is hidden, that's all. Okay, but the concept is any line joining these 2 points should be hidden. This is what I mean to say. So now let me draw this hidden line, center line. Okay, I'm using pen here so that it will be visible for you to understand, correct? So this completes the top view. You can always give the leaders, no doubt with it. You can always give the leaders here, give the arrow marks in which direction you have projected. Okay, I maintain similar kind of neatness. Okay, similarly you can project it here in this direction, correct, and upwards you can do that, right? So now the next condition is with respect to VP, right? So what is inclined to VP? What is inclined to VP? The edge that is resting on HP. Okay, right. See, you need to also understand there are two types of conditions here. One is edge condition, one is corner condition, that we have already learnt. So this is the edge condition. Since he says it is the side that is resting on HP, edge is resting on HP. So that is why we need to draw this edge condition or edge towards the right of the observer. As you can see here, I have taken the edge towards the right. So you can ask me, sir, why is this A and A dash? Again, you have taken this edge onto the left. So see here, understand, for even surfaces or even sides, if I take edge towards the right, again you get edge towards the left. That I have explained in the previous video. Again, when I consider a pentagonal prism here, when I take edge condition, edge is towards the right, corner is towards the left, correct? So in solids, when they say edge condition, take edge towards right. In planes, when they say edge condition, you are taking edge towards the left of the observer, because I'm inclining this towards right here, that's all. That is what I mean to say. So you can always rotate the other way also. Instead, the edge should be taken to the left, right? So again, I told you can draw in many ways that you want, but I'm following my convenient method. So I'm taking edge towards right, I'm inclining towards right again, and you can see in VTU primer or in any of the textbooks, they might have inclined to the left also, stating that this edge is taken towards the left. So here there is no confusion, it is very simple. But for odd number of sides, only one edge is available here or on this side. Okay, that's all, right? So now let us move on to VP. The angle inclined was 30 degrees. So the angle was 30 degrees. So what we'll do is we'll take 30 degrees. So now we need to understand what is inclined to VP. He says the edge that is resting on HP is inclined at an angle of 30 degrees to VP. So which edge is inclined on HP? Here you can see in this condition, this all the four edges are inclined. So you should always look into the second condition to identify the edge that is resting on HP. So here if you get 2 points, that means to say edge is inclined. Understand carefully, B dash C dash is inclined. So the line BC is resting on HP. So this is edge condition. So you have taken edge towards right, you have got 2 points here. If you take corner towards right, you get only 1 point here. Understand, right? So BC is inclined at an angle of 30 degrees. So what I do is I take this object, I'll place this way. Take BC, place this way. If I'm placing this way, that means to say I need to draw inclined line this way, correct? You can also draw this way, but only thing is you have to take this way or flip it. So my convenient method is to take 30 degrees in this direction. So I'll place this protractor here somewhere some point which is below xy line. I'll let you know why I'm doing this. So 30 degrees, I'm going to take 30 degrees here. So I'm just cross verifying whether it is overlapping here or not. So to avoid that, I'm going to take this 30 degree. So mark this point. Right, so I've drawn 30 degree line here. You may ask me why have you written here. So understand, right, so this line is parallel to this line. So when I draw 30 degree to this line will also be inclined to 30 degrees to xy line, right? So I hope you have understood this. Or in a simple way to explain, just project this line onto xy line. So here you can find out 30 degrees. So assuming this, we'll go for the next condition, right? So what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to draw a very thin line here, because this hidden line should be represented here, correct? So what I do is I use pencil compass here. So I measure this BC. First I'll place these 2 points here. Okay, so I'm going to take somewhere here, right, or here. So I know the point that I've taken here. I'm not going to mark it, I'm just going to name it. So which is B here. Again, copied on the same naming, right? So if you wish to draw the find out the hidden line for this hidden points for this O1 and O, when I see from the top, this top surface is completely visible. So O1 is visible, O is invisible. So I'm going to write this in bracket, right? So now I was supposed to draw a hidden line here. So I have to draw a hidden line. So it should be a hidden line. So you need to identify this hidden line. Okay, hidden line. Rest. Now you have found out 2 known points. Find out the third point. So this becomes the third point to find out. This becomes the third. So all the points become the third point here to find out. So what I do is I use pencil compass here. So one method is measure B to A, draw an arc. Now measure C to A. See, I'm measuring C to A, and from C to A you can cut an arc and find out the third point. Or the best method is, again, this line is perpendicular, right? To C, this line is perpendicular. To B, this line is perpendicular. You can draw a perpendicular line and then find out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the arc by center point method here. So I'll place B to A. I'm going to draw an arc. Arc should be very, very thin. So I'll find out C to A. I'll find out C to A. So I need to extend this now. Right. Next. So then and there itself name it. So it becomes A. I'll make it fast now. So B to D dash. Sorry, B to D. B to D, B to D, C to D. So C to D. I'm sorry, I hope that was not visible. So what I've done is I've taken B to A. So B to A, and I've drawn an arc here, B to A. C to A, I've taken C to A, and C to A, I've drawn an arc. Okay, now next I've taken B to D, I've drawn an arc. Next C to D, C to D. Okay, so let me complete it fast. So again, I'll also find out the center point here, B to O. If you measure, it is same again, C to O. So what I do is find out C to O, copy down the same drawing here. Okay, now points. So B to D1, B to D1, C to D1, either of the next B to A1, B to A1, next C to A1, next B to B1. That's what I said, if you draw a perpendicular line here, everything comes in a straight line. So what I'll do is, so I can place 90-degree line here in this particular direction. I can draw a straight line here. See, I'm going to get this way, so I'm going to join this, correct? Right, similarly I'll find out this point and make sure that all the points are on the same line, right, somewhere here. So correct, so I'm getting the same point here. So this I made sure that I'm going to get somewhere here. So it is B to C, B to C, so I'm going to get somewhere here. So and C to C1, if I measure this here, C to C1, see, somewhere here I'm going to get, correct? Right, now complete this diagram here. Just join all the points here. Right, so this is how you will get the third condition. Make sure that this is hidden over here. Okay, right. A1, B1, C1 and D1 here. So let me also find out this center line and O1 here. So you can take either B to O1 or from O to O1 I can do this. O to O1, so I place this at the center. So let me draw a perpendicular line. So this line is, I'm making this parallel, so this becomes perpendicular. So I'm going to draw a center line here. Right. So as you can see, the center line is reduced because this has become apparent now. This is the actual length and this is the apparent length. That is what I've drawn here. Okay, seems okay, right? So now final condition is very simple. So what we need to do is we'll just project this. So first let me project the top surface, then bottom surface, then this O and O1. Okay, so projecting the top surface first, so which is A1 here. So project till A1, project the none there itself. So please do not extend the line further, leading to confusions. So next, again I'm following the chronological order here, okay. Next B to B1, C to C1, C1 to C1. So next D1 to D1. I have projected top surface. Before going for the bottom surface, let us name this to avoid confusion. A1, B1, C1. Sorry, this is C1. So now let us name this. So if I'm going to name this, so A1 is here, so this has to be A1, B1, C1 and D1. Okay, since it is a front view, it should be A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash and D1 dash. Let us not worry about what are the hidden points. Also project this center line here. Make sure that you draw it using a very thin line. Extra lines can be erased off if it is required. So this is O1 dash, so I'm not writing any points in bracket, correct? So now go with the bottom surface. So A to A here, somewhere here you're going to get. That is why I told you to end the lines then and there itself, okay? And also name it before joining, and make sure that none of the alphabets are overlapping. So next B, let us go for B. So B is on XY line, so if I project till here, that is sufficient. So I name it as B dash, A dash, B dash. Now C dash, C dash is here, so this becomes C dash, D dash is here, correct? So I have projected this, so this bottom surface onto this particular front view here, D dash, right? So I hope you can project this upwards. So this is what I have done. So now let me consider only this portion here, okay? Now how to draw this? So look in this direction, as you can see here. If I look in this direction, there are many other ways, okay, to find out the hidden points in the front view. See, basically what I've done is, you also have to follow the same thing. What I've done is, I've rotated this object in such a way that this bottom surface is completely visible to the observer. When the observer is here, this surface should be nearer to the observer. That is how you have to rotate, okay? So I've taken this way. Now if I've taken this way, this is the method to identify the hidden and visible lines here in the front view. Otherwise you need to follow the other method. So always I rotate in such a way that this bottom surface is completely nearer to the observer, okay? So you're rotating this in such a way that it is completely nearer to the observer. So if I see here, the bottom surface is completely visible. See, as you can see here, if I project this way, if I'm rotating this way, so if you are the observer, I'm rotating this way, correct? So when I'm rotating this way, what happens? The bottom surface is nearer to the observer. You can see this bottom surface. So that is what I've done here, right? So bottom surface is completely visible. So make this bottom surface completely visible. That's all. So first step is to do this, okay? So make sure that again none of the alphabets are overlapping. So B dash to C dash, so it comes by practice again. Correct. And correct. So bottom surface completely visible. Next, after drawing this, identify the outer boundary. Very simple, identify the outer boundary. So for the outer boundary is from here, you can see the outer boundary is this. Join the outer boundary by a visible line. Join the outer boundary by a visible line. Right, you have joined the outer boundary by visible line. So you can see here the view here, right? So next, first step is to draw the bottom surface completely visible. Next, outer boundary to be visible. Outer boundary to be visible. Now if you look this lamina, if you look into this lamina, this A, B, C and D here, A to A dash, if I draw this A to A dash, A or A1, A to A1, this line does not pass inside this lamina, correct? The line does not extend, will not pass inside this lamina. Consider B, B dash. Even this line will not pass inside this lamina. Consider D dash and D1 dash here. this line also does not pass inside this lamina, right? All these three lines are outside the lamina. Consider C2, C1 here. So when I draw this line passes inside this square lamina. Okay, so assuming any line that is passing inside this lamina, the bottom surface, inside this bottom surface should be hidden, and any line joining this line is also hidden. So C1 to D1, C1 to B1 is hidden, correct? So this is what you need to do, right? Or other way, the outer line which is not passing inside this line should be visible. So what I'll do is I'll take this as visible here. I'll draw this as visible. Okay, so now this C to C dash or C1, C to C1 is hidden. C to C1 is hidden. Next, C1 to D1 is also hidden, and B to C is also hidden. Right, to make it visible after this, right? So now the junction here is hidden, so I'm rewriting here, which is C1 dash, so which is hidden here, right? Also project O2 O1 here, O2 O1. So I hope you have projected this. No, yeah, I have projected this. It comes again on this line, so let me take this. So this is O dash, correct? So bottom surface is completely visible, so O dash is not in bracket, O1 dash in bracket, you have to write. So considering this, it may overlap, let it overlap, so you need to draw the center line here. So this is how you want to draw the axis line. Okay, so this completes the solution. So what I've done is I've taken this, I've started from here, top view, and then I've gone for the front view, and then I've tilted this, I've rotated this about HP, that is for 45 degrees, then projected this, making sure this is hidden here. Now coming back, so here I've taken 30 degrees, I've drawn, and I've replicated the same thing here. Sorry, replicating the same thing here. Now while projecting, I made sure that this is the observer is here, so and following the procedure here. So it is a simple basic procedure what you need to understand and need to solve. So for any problems of this kind or any problems on solids, you have to follow this method. I hope you have understood. So thank you for watching the video. So in the next video we'll be discussing about a pentagonal prism, and also further we'll see how beta angle is to be drawn. Thank you so much for watching the video.